Namaskar. Economy in the context of Assam, a scientific analysis শীৰ্ষক পপুলাৰ টক সিৰিজৰ আজি সপ্তম সংখ্যক বক্তৃতা অনুষ্ঠান। আজি বক্তৃতা প্ৰদান কৰিব এই ৱেবিনাৰৰ নিৰ্দিষ্ট বক্তা প্ৰফেসৰ পাৰ্থঙ্কৰ চৌধুৰী দেৱে। প্ৰফেসৰ পাৰ্থঙ্কৰ চৌধুৰী হৈছে ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্ট অফ ইকোলজি এণ্ড এনভাইৰনমেণ্টেল সায়েন্স, আসাম ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি শিলচৰৰ অধ্যাপক। এই বক্তৃতা অনুষ্ঠানত আমাৰ মাজত উপস্থিত আছে অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ সভানেত্ৰী ডক্টৰ জয়ন্তী চুতীয়া বাইদেউ, অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ প্ৰধান সচিব ডক্টৰ জয়দীপ বৰুৱা ছাৰৰ লগতে অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ সন্মানীয় সদস্য আৰু শ্ৰোতা দৰ্শকসকল। মই পোনপ্ৰথমতে অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ সভানেত্ৰী ডক্টৰ জয়ন্তী চুতীয়া বাইদেউক আজিৰ বক্তৃতা অনুষ্ঠানখনৰ লগত সংগতি ৰাখি তেওঁৰ চমু ভাষণ প্ৰদান কৰিবলৈ অনুৰোধ জনালো। বাইদেউ।
ধন্যবাদ। অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতি আৰু ইয়াৰ শাখাসমূহৰ সকলো সদস্যৰ লগতে আজিৰ বক্তা শ্ৰদ্ধেয় প্ৰফেসৰ পাৰ্থঙ্কৰ চৌধুৰী দেৱলৈ মোৰ সশ্ৰদ্ধ সম্ভাষণ জ্ঞাপন কৰিলোঁ। অসম প্ৰসংগত উন্নয়ন এক বৈজ্ঞানিক বিশ্লেষণ, এই সন্দৰ্ভত অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিয়ে আয়োজন কৰা জনপ্ৰিয় বক্তৃতালানি আজিৰ সপ্তমটো বক্তৃতা প্ৰদান কৰিব অধ্যাপক চৌধুৰী ডাঙৰীয়া। তেখেত শিলচৰত থকা অসম বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ ইকোলজি এণ্ড এনভাইৰনমেণ্টেল সায়েন্স বিভাগৰ অধ্যাপক। তেখেতৰ বক্তৃতাৰ বিষয়বস্তু হ'ল লাইভলিহুডছ এণ্ড বায়'ডাইভাৰ্চিটি ষ্ট্ৰাইকিং আ বেলেন্স, জীৱিকা আৰু জৈৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য এটা তুলনামূলক বিশ্লেষণ। আমি জানো যে উত্তৰ পূব অঞ্চলৰ প্ৰতিখন ৰাজ্যই জৈৱ সম্পদত অতিকৈ চহকী। সেই আহোমসকল যেতিয়া অসমলৈ আহিছিল, এই ভূখণ্ডত ভৰি থৈ প্ৰাকৃতিক সৌন্দৰ্য দেখি অভিভূত হৈ কৈছিল, ইট ইজ আ কাণ্ট্ৰি অফ গোল্ডেন গাৰ্ডেন। এই বিশাল প্ৰাকৃতিক উদ্যান, পৰ্বত, পাহাৰ, অৰণ্য, নদ নদী, উপত্যকা, জান-জুৰি, বিল, বন্যপ্ৰাণী, সৰীসৃপ, পশুপক্ষী, গছ-গছনিৰে ভৰা। এই জৈৱ সম্পদসমূহ মানুহে পৰম্পৰাভাৱে জীৱিকাৰ আহিলা হিচাপে ব্যৱহাৰ কৰি আহিছে, বিশেষকৈ গ্ৰাম্য অঞ্চলত। তাৰোপৰি বিজ্ঞান প্ৰযুক্তিৰ উন্নতি হোৱাৰ লগে লগে বহু ধৰণৰ ব্যৱসায়, বাণিজ্য, উদ্যোগ অনুষ্ঠানতো এই সম্পদৰ বহুল ব্যৱহাৰ হৈছে। কিন্তু জলবায়ু পৰিৱৰ্তন, বানপানী বা মানৱ সৃষ্ট দুৰ্যোগৰ ফলত আমাৰ প্ৰাকৃতিক সম্পদ ভীষণভাৱে বিনষ্ট হৈছে। জীৱিকা আৰু জৈৱ সম্পদৰ সমতা স্থাপন কৰিবলৈ হ'লে হেৰাই যোৱা জৈৱ সম্পদৰ পুনৰুদ্ধাৰ কৰিব লাগিব। এগ্ৰ'ফৰেষ্ট্ৰীবিলাক জীপাল কৰি তুলিব লাগিব। নতুনকৈ প্লেণ্টেশ্যন আৰম্ভ কৰিব লাগিব বা প্লেণ্টেশ্যন কৰি আছে আৰু আমি বঢ়াই কৰিব লাগিব, যাতে আমাৰ পৰিৱেশৰ ভাৰসাম্য আৰু তিষ্ঠি থাকে আৰু মানুহেও জীৱন নিৰ্বাহৰ কাৰণে প্ৰয়োজনীয় সম্পদ আহৰণ কৰিব পাৰে। এই বিষয়ে বিস্তৃতভাৱে আৰু বৈজ্ঞানিক পদ্ধতিৰে বিশ্লেষণ আগবঢ়াব আমাৰ আমন্ত্ৰিত অতিথি শ্ৰদ্ধেয় প্ৰফেসৰ পাৰ্থঙ্কৰ চৌধুৰী দেৱে। আৰু তেখেতে বক্তৃতা আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ আগতে মই অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ প্ৰধান সচিব ডক্টৰ জয়দীপ বৰুৱাক তেখেতৰ বিষয়ে এটি চমু পৰিচয় দাঙি ধৰিবলৈ অনুৰোধ কৰিলোঁ। ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ ডক্টৰ জয়ন্তী চুতীয়া বাইদেউ। অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ মাননীয় সভাপতি মহোদয়া, কাৰ্যকৰী সভাপতি ডক্টৰ মোহন চন্দ্ৰ কলিতাদেৱ, ডক্টৰ কন্দৰ্প কুমাৰ শৰ্মা, অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ আমাৰ সদস্য অংশগ্ৰহণকাৰীসকল আৰু বিশেষকৈ আজিৰ বক্তা ডক্টৰ পাৰ্থঙ্কৰ চৌধুৰী ডাঙৰীয়া, যিসকলে আজি প্ৰথমবাৰৰ বাবে এই বক্তৃতা অনুষ্ঠানত যোগদান কৰিছে তেখেতসকলক জনাওঁ যে অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিয়ে এই কোভিড-19ৰ যিটো আমাৰ চিটুৱেশ্যন, তেতিয়া আমি ভাবিলোঁ যে আমি এক্টিভিটিবিলাক কেনেকৈ আগবঢ়াই লৈ যাম। আৰু লগতে আমি ভাবিলোঁ যে আমাৰ অসমৰ যিটো অৰ্থনৈতিক বিকাশ, উন্নয়ন, সেই উন্নয়নটো এটা বহনক্ষম বা ছাষ্টেইনেবল ৱেত আমি কি ধৰণে আগবঢ়াই লৈ যাব পাৰোঁ, এই ক্ষেত্ৰত বিজ্ঞান সমিতিয়ে কি ধৰণে চিন্তা কৰিব পাৰে। আৰু সেইকাৰণে আমি এলানি বক্তৃতা আয়োজন কৰিছিলোঁ, অসমৰ প্ৰেক্ষাপটত অৰ্থনীতি এক বৈজ্ঞানিক বিশ্লেষণ, আসাম ইকনমি ইন দি কনটেক্সট অফ আসাম এ চাইণ্টিফিক এনালাইচিছ। আৰু ইয়াৰ ওপৰত ভিত্তি কৰি আমি এটা ইতিমধ্যে 6টা বক্তৃতা আমাৰ হৈ গ'ল। It started from flood, বানপানীৰ পৰা আদি কৰি উদ্যান শস্য, appropriate technology, উদ্যান শস্য, এই সকলোবোৰ বিষয় আমি সামৰিছো। আজি আমাৰ যিটো বিষয় আমি সামৰি লৈছো সেইটো হৈছে লাইভলিহুড এণ্ড বায়োডাইভাৰ্চিটি, জীৱিকা আৰু জৈৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য, আৰু তাত আমি ভাৰসাম্য ৰাখি কি ধৰণে আমি আগবাঢ়িব পাৰো। গতিকে অসম বায়োডাইভাৰ্চিটি জীৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্যত অতি চহকী বুলি আমি জানো। গতিকে এই দিশটোৰ ওপৰত আলোকপাত কৰিবৰ বাবে আমি আমন্ত্ৰণ কৰি আনিছো ডক্টৰ পাৰ্থংকৰ চৌধুৰী। Dr. Pathangkar Chaudhary is a very renowned person in the field of biodiversity in our region. আমাৰ এই অঞ্চলত অসমৰ উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলত তেখেতক জীৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য সংৰক্ষণৰ বাবে তেখেতৰ কাম কাজ আমাৰ বিশেষকৈ এই ক্ষেত্ৰত কাম কৰা সকলোৱে জানে। তেখেত ইতিমধ্যে কোৱা গৈছে যে অসম বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ তেখেত ইকোলজি এণ্ড এনভাইৰনমেণ্টেল ছায়েন্স বিভাগৰ এগৰাকী অধ্যাপক, আৰু তেখেতে গুৱাহাটী বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ পৰা MSc আৰু PhD ডিগ্ৰী লাভ কৰিছিলে ৱাইল্ড লাইফ ইকোলজি বিভাগত। আৰু তেখেতে বিশেষকৈ ৱাইল্ড লাইফ আৰু বায়োডাইভাৰ্চিটি কনজাৰ্ভেশ্যন, বন্যপ্ৰাণী আৰু জীৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য সংৰক্ষণৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত যোৱা প্ৰায় 30 বছৰ ধৰি কাম কৰি আছে। প্ৰায় 15 গৰাকী ৰিচাৰ্চ স্কলাৰ তেখেতৰ অধীনত PhD ডিগ্ৰী লাভ কৰিছে, 3 গৰাকী MPhil ডিগ্ৰী লাভ কৰিছে, কিংবা আৰু প্ৰায় 8 গৰাকী ৰিচাৰ্চ স্কলাৰে গৱেষণা ছাত্ৰই তেখেতৰ অধীনত গৱেষণা চলাই আছে। 80খনতকৈ অধিক গৱেষণা পত্ৰ আন্তৰ্জাতিক আৰু ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় বিভিন্ন গৱেষণা জাৰ্নেলত প্ৰকাশিত হৈছে। তেখেতে প্ৰায় শতাধিক আমাৰ আলোচনা চক্ৰ, চেমিনাৰ, আন্তৰ্জাতিক বা আমাৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় পৰ্যায়ৰ বিভিন্ন চেমিনাৰত অংশগ্ৰহণ কৰি অসমৰ জীৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য সংৰক্ষণৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ তেখেতে প্ৰচাৰ কৰিছে, বৈজ্ঞানিক বিশ্লেষণ দাঙি ধৰিছে। আৰু শেহতীয়াকৈ তেখেতৰ এটা কামে সকলোৰে দৃষ্টি আকৰ্ষণ কৰিছে, সেইটো হ'ল এখন আপুৰুগীয়া উদ্যান বুলি এখন ইক' পাৰ্ক তেখেতে অসম বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ চৌহদত গঢ়ি তুলিছে। তেখেতৰ প্ৰয়াসত গঢ় লৈ উঠিছে অতি এখন আকৰ্ষণীয় উদ্যান। অসমৰ যিবিলাক আপুৰুগীয়া সম্পদ, জীৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্যৰ সেইবিলাক তেখেতে সংৰক্ষণ কৰিবৰ কাৰণে ইক' পাৰ্কখন, পৰিৱেশ উদ্যানখন গঢ়ি তুলিছে। যিসকলে শিলচৰলৈ যায় আশা কৰোঁ তাত তেখেতৰ লগত গৈ এই উদ্যানখন চাব। গতিকে আমি ভাবিছো যে ডক্টৰ পাৰ্থংকৰ চৌধুৰীৰ যিটো বক্তৃতা, সেই বক্তৃতাৰ যোগেদি অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ সদস্য আৰু ইয়াত অংশগ্ৰহণকাৰীসকল, ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল, ৰিচাৰ্চ স্কলাৰসকল যথেষ্ট পৰিমাণে উপকৃত হ'ব। So without further delay, I request Dr. Pathangkar Chaudhary to kindly start his presentation. Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you, Dr. Bodua. In the beginning, Dr. Jayanti Chutia Baida, she has given a brief introduction, a bit inflated inflation also given by Dr. Joydeep Borua. Anyway, we are working, we are teachers, and we are trying to do our best in whatever possible, to whatever possible extent. So in course of that, whenever any situation comes, we try to do betterment for the environment of our own Assam. Although I can very fluently speak Assamese, but since we are accustomed to deliver in English, so I will prefer to use English mainly, and meanwhile time to time I may use Assamese terms also, and maybe 1 or 2 Bengali terms as well. So I think the screen is visible.
Yes.
General title hoise livelihood and biodiversity, striking a balance. So prothome proshnoto hol je biodiversity aru livelihood, কিছুমান মানে ভাবে যে বায়োডাইভাৰ্চিটিৰ ওপৰত যদি আমি মানে হেৰি কৰি যাওঁ, biodiversity exploitation kori jao, in that case biodiversity will be at damage. In most of our speeches, just a minute, I am taking 1 minute time.
More nine. 7%, 2%. More নহল চাৰি নাই
যিসকলে প্ৰেজেন্টেশ্যন যাৰ বাকীসকলে নিজৰ নিজৰ মাইকটো মিউট কৰি ৰাখক কাইণ্ডলি বাকীসকলে নিজৰ মাইকটো মিউট কৰি ৰাখক কাইণ্ডলি
মীৰা দেৱী বাইদেউ অৰুণ কুমাৰ শৰ্মা আপোনালোকে কাইণ্ডলি আপোনালোকৰ মাইকবোৰ মিউট কৰি ৰাখক
You have to turn your video on. Turn it on. Then press Alt and Tab.
दिया जाओगे
TV is on.
Okay, I think the screen is fully visible, no?
yes yes yes
Okay. Now, the livelihood and biodiversity, where to find a balance? Most of the time we find biodiversity, we talk on biodiversity conservation, etc. And in course of biodiversity conservation, one thing that happens that biodiversity is, it's at some cases sustainable harvesting is not done. And therefore we find that many species are on the verge of extinction. And if you think that in our day-to-day meal, whatever we take from morning till our dinner, in the morning after getting up from bed, what we take? We take tea and biscuit. So what from that tea comes? It comes from a type of plant, whatever it is. Biscuit, it is made up, again, it is directly coming from the plants. Then in your breakfast, whatever you take, either directly or indirectly, it comes from a plant origin or animal origin. In your lunch, again the same thing, it directly or indirectly comes from the plant or animal. Evening tea, dinner, everywhere, you see that if the biodiversity is not there, or had the biodiversity been not there, it would not been possible for us to sustain, at least to get a square meal a day. Now, this is one aspect, and our bread and butter earning, that is which is livelihood, how that livelihood can be provided by biodiversity, especially during these pandemic days, when everybody is surviving with lots of stress and strain, and so many discomfort are there in our day-to-day life. Now, main highlights of the talk which I have prepared today is that I'll start with from some ancient Indian value systems, then livelihood and biodiversity, what are the issues, then present scenario in Northeast India and biodiversity, Assam's rich heritage of forest and biodiversity and human well-being, biodiversity and ecosystem services, and Assam forest, avenues to streamline NTFPs and other resources from Assam, and wildlife farming. This is another proposal, a proposition for Northeast. So these are, in short, the subheadings under which I will go on discussing. If we look, because our religion is more than 5,000 years old. Now, if we look what were during those days, 5,000 years old days, what were the messages that were preached for the conservation of biodiversity? During Vedic era, we find reference of Pancho Mahayajna. Pancho means, from the term, it is clear that five Mahayajna. Mahayajna means what? Great sacrifices. The 5 great sacrifices. What are those 5 great sacrifices? These are Brahma Yajna, Deva Yajna, Pitra Yajna, Atithi Yajna, and Balivashya Deva Yajna. So these are the 5 different types of worships which are preached, which were in practice in our Vedic period, and it is said that if you can do this type of worship or this type of sacrifices well, then the result of these sacrifices is that you will get absolute environment, enrichment of the absolute environment, including our mind, our body, our society, our atmosphere, relationships, and the fellow species. তার মানে আমার body, mind, society, atmosphere, fellow species, মানে বাকি plant, all other animals, we can do our duty full towards them. Now, if we speak about all these yajanas one by one, we find Brahma Yajana means what? It means daily prayer to the Almighty, Bhagavan pranam kora, puja kora, study of the Vedas and other spiritual. Deva Yajana means what? Performing sacrifices to Devas. Devas means heaven, Swargot thake, for the purity of one's intellectual mind, body, and most importantly, the atmosphere. Pitra Yajana, by the term it is clear, Pitra means parents, so we should take care of our parents. Atithi Yajana, তার মানে কোনোবা যদি guest আহে ঘৰত, we have to give respect, we have to do service to the guest, okay, take care of the guest. These are the 4, but the 5th one is most important to us. It is Balivashya Deva Yajana. It means what? According to Vedic terminology, it requires that one should be compassionate and responsible to all other fellow species. Baki jiman plants আছে, jiman animals আছে, সবার প্রতি আমার sympathy থাকিব লাগিব. If we human had executed these yajanas dutifully, আমি আগৰ পৰা তেনেকুৱা কৰা নাই. Had we been doing like that, words like extinct species and endangered species, আজিকালি যিকেইটা IUCN terminology পৰা আহে, would not have entered into our lexicon, would not have entered into our terminology. আমি এইকেইটা শব্দ শুনা নাপালো হেতেন, had we been done this Balivashya Deva Yajana properly. তার মানে কি আমি properly করা নাই this the 5th component which is preached in our Vedic time. Now, coming to the next period is the Sankhya Darshan, where 2 concepts are there. Sankhya Darshan believes in dualistic philosophy, where we have heard about 2 concepts. One is Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha and Prakriti, although by the term it means that the male and the female, it is nothing like that. It believes on that. It believes on the dualistic philosophy, as I have said you. That there is a Purusha and there is a Prakriti, and these are 2 as separate as the clockmaker and the clock. Just if I give you example, it will be clear. Suppose in my hand Titan watch is there. Now, according this Titan watch has been prepared by somebody or the other. Some engineers might have prepared. Now, according to his wish, the dial is colored. It may be black colored, it may be white colored. The length of the sticks may be long, may be small. It will be gents watch, it may be ladies watch. Okay, now how the watch will look like? So that concept, that was conceptualized by the engineer who has manufactured it, and according to his thinking, the manifestation has come in the form of a clock. Maruti gari jenekwa, Maruti gari engineer jenekwa bonabo, this should be like this. The steering should be like this, the back seat should be like this, the driving seat should be like this, the front mirror should be like this. Okay, according to his thinking, according to the thinking of the engineer, the shape of the car is made. So here the Purusha and Prakriti means Purusha will conceptualize je keneকুৱা কি হ'ব, and according to his thinking, the Prakriti, that means the manifestation is there. So কথা হল যে we the human beings, আমি যেনেকুৱা কাম কৰিম, the way in which we will do, the manifestation on the environment will be like that. If we do good thing, something good will come in the future. If we do bad thing, everything will go in bad direction in the future. So this is a sort of warning, or this is a sort of lesson what we can learn from our ancient Vedic chapters. Now, coming to the main text, livelihood and biodiversity. So there are issues. Logically, mainly, especially after the pandemic, this has become a major issue. An issue, maybe some regional issues. If we look at our own state, it is a regional issue. If we look at our own country, it is a national issue. If we look at the globe, it is a global issue. So pandemic is altogether, it is a different chapter already. It does not come anywhere under the purview of today's discussion. But coming about the biodiversity, what we are doing for the biodiversity. So these are some of the issues I am coming with those issues. Then we will go point by point how to address those issues. Biodiversity provides the building block for sustainable food, health, and livelihood security system. This is a known. It provides the building block of food. It is the unit, responsible for maintaining health, livelihood security system, etc. Biodiversity management and local livelihood are integrated. It is local livelihood. কোনো এটা ঠাইৰ suppose Kerala, তাৰ biodiversity কি কি আছে, তাৰ মানুহ কেনেকুৱা কি biodiversity পৰা কি কি harvest কৰিব, that is a local. Where say in Rajasthan, there are different type of biodiversity, maybe very less biodiversity. Okay, how their people will harvest biodiversity, and in comparison our own state, how they will harvest biodiversity. These are situation specific, and there is no uniform formula even within a country, or within the state also there is variation, very much locally specific. The use value of biodiversity to local people, including very poor, are often neglected. The biodiversity to use value, that use value to local people, especially the tribal mass or the Tholua Manuji kejan ase, including the very poor, eulogor jitu adhikar, that has been often neglected. Although national level so many bodies are there, but I'll talk about this NBA, National Biodiversity Authority, and everything. When this concept, that means biodiversity benefit to the local people, should be given, a concept to ketia pora ahise, it came from the Rio Convention on Biodiversity that was held in 1992. Many of you know. It has three main objectives. That is, number one, whole conservation of biodiversity. Number two, whole sustainable use of its components. Number three, whole fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising out of utilization of its genetic resources. So these were the three main objectives of Rio Convention. If we come to our Northeast India, what is the scenario? And definitely, in some sense, the scenario is alarming. And thing is that logically, wherever you go beyond Northeast, if you go to Delhi, if you go to Mumbai, if you go to Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, whatever you go, you will find people from our own state, they are going there. And what they are doing job. Maybe in some cases they are security, maybe in some cases they are supplying food, it's a Zomato type of thing. Okay, so you will find most of the say young boys, 15, 20, 25 years, so most of them go there for what? For earning their livelihood. Our own state cannot provide them livelihood. That is why they have gone to those other places where they can get their bread and butter. So what is their salary, what they are earning? Maximum they 12,000, 10,000, 15,000. In some of the hotel they are working as boy, say getting 10,000 plus food. Okay, so monthly perhaps he is sending to his family which is staying in Assam, say 8,000 or 6,000, 7,000 like that. That means what? What the family is getting from a boy, that family is getting 7,000. তার মানে কি আমার একটা লড়া, he has gone out from the state, কিন্তু তাত গৈ কাম কৰি আছে, আমার স্টেটে আমি তাক 7,000 দিব নোৱাৰিলো, but 10,000 দিব নোৱাৰিলো, because of that only he has gone to some other state. So আৰু আজিকালি after the pandemic has come into being, joblessness has multiplied. Then this, how to address joblessness that has emanated due to recent pandemic to the migrant laborers. Most of this category are migrant laborers, and most of these, they have become jobless. So how their jobless can be addressed with our biodiversity resources? Kono rasta ase neki? If there is any avenue left, what are those avenues? Then how biodiversity can help address these issues. Villages of Assam, আজিকালি টাউনৰ কথা বাদ দি যদি গাঁৱৰ কেইটাৰ কথা আমি চিন্তা কৰো, villages of Assam and for that matter the entire northeast are becoming poorer and poorer. Why? What can be the reason? Why our villages? Because villages are becoming poor. That means what? Economy of a country is going down. Now, why the villages are being poor? Why the villages are becoming poorer and poorer? Why the national policies have not addressed these issues? There is definitely some gap in these issues, therefore it is happening like that. Okay, we know about Swaraj concept of Gandhiji, who said about the full economic freedom to each and every Indian. Where is the dream of Gandhiji for these toiling millions, who gave that all the people will have full economic freedom? What is that now? Okay, can biodiversity assist, at least partially, if not fully, to make Atmanirbhar Bharat? We listen about Atmanirbhar Bharat, or say at least for our northeast, Atmanirbhar Northeast India. Can biodiversity help at least? If it can help, what are the avenues? Then recently, 2-3 days back, we have seen in the newspaper that government of Assam has declared that 2 lakh, up to 2 lakh yachts at the rate of 50,000 will be given. So why 50,000 given? That is decision has been taken by government of Assam. Now, 50,000 ejane pabo nibunua, he will get 50,000. 2 lakh lorai pabo. With this 50,000, what he will do? That amar biodiversity কোনো help কৰিব পাৰিব নে নাই? So that is another question. Banking on biodiversity resources, can a meaningful way our youths may become self-dependent? These are the questions which definitely comes in our mind when we look that whenever we look that most of the people, especially after this pandemic, we have seen in the media, the newspaper, that 3 lakh people have come to Assam from outside because of this pandemic. Now these 3 lakh people have come, maybe 30,000 maximum will go back, but 2,70,000 will stay here. So এই যে 2,70,000 will stay, so তেওঁলোকে খাব কি? তাৰ কাৰণে biodiversity, can it be any help? Now our Assam state, it is rich. It is having a rich heritage of forest and the biodiversity resources. Let us briefly look at what are the rich heritage of biodiversity and forest resources. So this is some of the description about our own state. That state of Assam is located between this latitude and this longitude. Geographical area is 78,438 square kilometer, which constitute 2.39% of the country's total area. Population is this much. Population density is about 400, that is 399 per square kilometer. Topographically, Brahmaputra Valley, Barak Valley, and Tanmajot, this NC Hill range, tropical humid climate, okay, so which is sufficient for luxuriant growth of vegetation. It is there. Forest and tree cover status, within our state about 2% of the area is covered with tall trees. Other than that, forest cover is 36%. So if we put 36 plus this 2%, that means what? 38% of the area is under forest. So as per national policy, the state should be having 33% of the forest cover. Any state of India should have 33% of the forest cover. So we are plus 5% in addition to the national average. Sorry, state. What is the dictation given by the center? But on an average, if we see that the total, on an average, the forest cover in our India, it is 21 or 22, maximum 23. Okay, so Indian average is 23%. National target is it should be 33%, and we are 5% extra to that. In terms of the forest canopy density classes, the state has very dense forest of 2795 square kilometer, moderate dense forest 10,279 square kilometer, open forest 15,025 square kilometer, and in comparison to 2017 census, this is as per 2019 census, it has increased, forest cover has increased by 222 square kilometer. Now, protected area network, if we see, there are 5 national parks, 17 wildlife sanctuaries, 3 proposed wildlife sanctuaries, 4 tiger reserve, 4 elephant reserves, 2 biosphere reserve, and 2 World Heritage sites. And if we see the national parks, there are 5 national parks, wildlife sanctuaries. There are these 18 plus 2 proposed wildlife sanctuaries. So these are the, just I am going through the name of these sanctuaries and the national parks. So some of these are located in your nearby area also. Biodiversity is a entire thing. We are having very rich cover of the of the forest, having green cover, rich in quite good in national that is sanctuaries, national parks, etc. So one thing we can say with surety that we are having rich stock, rich heritage of biodiversity. Rajasthan cannot boast like that way, or Delhi or any other state cannot boast like that way. But our Assam, we are boast that we are having rich heritage of biodiversity. We are having very good quantity of green cover. Even although the highest green cover or highest maximum green cover is in Mizoram, but we are almost following that. Now, biodiversity, how this can help in development? Biodiversity, it is said that it can sustain development, and development has an impact on biodiversity. Wherever development takes place, it may have impact, it may have positive impact, it may have negative impact. For example, if there is any road construction, for that matter, what will happen? The normal, the greeneries may be cut down, so that is damaging activities on the biodiversity. Now, biodiversity, although it does not directly contribute to all sectors of development, but sustainable development cannot be achieved if biodiversity is compromised, it is ignored. Okay, so if we want sustainable development, that means what we should give weightage to biodiversity. Now, on every day, that is on every environment day, that is 5th June, what we do? Everybody everywhere we find that people they are doing plantation. Now, why this plantation is done? They do it on a symbolic way. Symbolic way, some people do, and some people do it. Why? Yeah, at least photo that is the objective. So that should not be the objective for your this thing plantation. So plantation should be done anytime, every time for enhancing the green cover. For enhancing the green cover, and while plantation. While planting saplings, we must keep 2 things. If we do, if we plant a sapling of a medicinal plant, in that case, what coming generation after 10 years, 15 years, a medicinal plant will be in your nearby area. If we plant a fruit yielding plant, in that case, you may get some food matter. Many birds may get their food matter. Many animals monkeys may get their food matter. Okay, so. You are doing plantation, and if these things keep in the back of your mind, you are doing 2-in-1 activities. Okay, dual purpose will be served. Biodiversity is definitely having some impact on welfare of the human well-being. What we see, what things, as in the beginning I said, from morning till evening, our everything comes from biodiversity. You see, pharmaceutical companies, so many pharmaceutical companies are there, and they are depending on the biodiversity resources for manufacturing of their medicines. And 60% of the ecosystem services, what we see that because of imbalanced or unplanned extortion of the environment, ecosystem, biodiversity, whatever it is, 60% of our ecosystem service has been degraded by now, and the cost of failure to halt biodiversity loss on land is estimated to be 500 billion US dollars. So it is a big amount. I mean, it is a big quantum of money. So biodiversity management, if we will have to do it in our own way. Why this is like that? Suppose a tall tree is there, and the villager, he wants that this tree should be cut down, and that tree he has cut down, he has sold in the market. Okay, even if it is a valuable tree, most valuable tree, he will get maximum to maximum what will get 30,000, 40,000 from a single tree. Now imagine that particular tree, if that tree survives for 50, 60 or 70 years, it goes on releasing oxygen. Now you quantify, if in a hypothetical case the quantum of oxygen released by a single tree can be quantified and it can be converted in terms of money, then you will find that it will be not less than 10 crores or 15 crores like that. So in one hand you have 15 crore, and on the other hand you have 30,000 or 40,000. So that year, our thinking should be like that only, that if we allow it to survive, it will give us in the long run. Nearly 1/6 of the world population depend on protected areas for significant percentage of their livelihood. Okay, mainly the rural poor who are living in those areas. Billions of people in developing countries rely on the fish because fishery is one of the major source of protein. Okay, and most of our people they get their food matter. So fish is again input from the biodiversity. Number of people who rely on the timber and the non-timber forest product is more than 1.5 billion. So non-timber forest product, I'll tell elaborately in the coming slides. Now that means what? Non-timber forest product again coming out from what? From our national parks, from our sanctuaries. A forest policy of the government of India or Assam forest policy, whatever it is silent about those non-timber forest product. They call it as sundry item. For sundry item, there is no law. For example, if a valuable timber like teak is cut down, then the DFO will catch that fellow, he will be punished. But for this non-timber forest product, there is no provision for punishment as per these forest policies. Biodiversity can also help in improving health, nutrition, and vulnerability. World Health Organization has estimated that 80% of the African people rely on the traditional medicines, which are coming out from plants and animals. And so these plants and animals are the only source of pharmacy to them. About 8% of the 52,000 medicinal plants used today are threatened with extinction. That is, in a planned way they are not harvested. This can be done in a planned way in our own state because so many medicinal plants are there. People depend on drug derived from the forest plants for their medicinal plants, and this number is also not less. It is more than 1 billion. So what we see that we are getting variety of services from the biodiversity or nature. In a broad term, what we can say ecosystem services. Now ecosystem services are broadly 4 different types. Some are supporting, some are provisioning, some are regulating, and some are cultural. What are those supporting? These are nutrient, primary production, soil formation, etc., etc. So I mean, for our life supporting, some provision for which gives supporting some ecosystem services are there. Some are provisioning services are there. some regulates, like your flood regulates, disease regulates, water purification, climate regulation, these are there. And cultural, like our aesthetic value, spiritual value, educational value, recreational value. Okay, for example, rhino is considered as the state animal of Assam. So this is giving us cultural value. So this is pride of Assam. So see, these are the broad four categories how the ecosystem services are obtained by the civil society. Now, what my intention to say is that biodiversity interaction, it gives us a number of essential natural services, which, as I've said you, ecosystem services like food production, soil fertility, climate regulation, carbon storage, etc., which can shape the development path of a state, of a country, of a region, anything. Okay. Now, thing is that for that matter, proper planning is required. Now, whether that planning is, many plannings are done, many committees are there, all statutory bodies are there, but to what extent, that is from the core of heart, whether these plannings are done or not, whether from the ground value, where the lacking is there this step should be taken, whether this type of coordination is done or not, this is a matter to be audited. For example, we have our National Biodiversity Board at the central level. Then at the state level, we have State Biodiversity Board. And if you go to each and every village, every district, and then every village, you have the village biodiversity management committee. The village biodiversity management committee, what it will do? It will do is that he will make a list of the plants available there, animals available there. He will make a total list of animals and plants available there, and this list will be passed on to the next higher body, district body, then it will go to the state body, like that. Now, in our own state, whether these things, say in each and every district, in each and every village of each and every district, whether it is properly done, and if it is done, whether it is properly coming to our state level, this is a matter to be investigated. I don't want to tell that this is not done, but to what extent it is done, and if whether it is properly done or not, this is a matter to be looked upon. Now, the most important threats to biodiversity have long been habitat loss. Habitat loss, it is going on. Why it is going on? Because large-scale conversion of land to agriculture and urban centers. So most of the places we find that urban or the cities are expanding in periphery. Periphery expansion, it is going on. Okay, so a radius of a city every 10 years, it is going on like anything. The best example today is your Bangalore city. Introduction of invasive alien species, and thirdly, over exploitation of natural resources, over exploitation and pollution to us, it is there already. Now, what we have done in our country, Indian scenario, in the last century, we have lost 35% of the mangroves, 40% of the forests, and 50% of the wetlands. Due to human actions, species are being lost at a rate up to 100 times the natural rate of extinction. Extinction is a natural phenomenon. Species will come, species will go. Okay, like your dinosaurs, they came, they flourished, then they have become extinct. It's a natural phenomenon. But due to our anthropogenic activities, human activities, the rate of extinction of the species has become accelerated. Now, deterioration in ecosystem service that result from biodiversity loss have severe consequences for human societies and economics and for the future of the life of this planet. Biodiversity preserve we will have to do, because it is having severe consequence on the life on this ecosystem. It is said, the famous American scientist, conservationist said that the planet in which we are living, we should not think that we have inherited from our ancestors, but we should think that we have borrowed it from our future generations. So if we think that we have borrowed it from our future generations, we will not cause any damage to them, rather we will be sincere for preserving them. Okay, so our thing is that our attitude will have to be modified. Poverty scenario and biodiversity. Poor category of people, which definitely 70%, 75% in our country, everywhere, biodiversity loss jodi hoy, in that case, the poor are particularly vulnerable because they are often directly dependent on biodiversity for their day-to-day life. 70% of the world's poor live in rural areas and depend directly on the biodiversity for their survival and well-being. The urban poor also rely heavily on biodiversity. If I give one example, it will be clear. For example, a people or a village man who goes in the morning, he goes to the forest, inside the forest, and throughout the day he harvests a bundle of bamboo, and in the evening he comes to that village market, he sells that bamboo bundle with say 100 rupees, and that 100 rupees he sells, with that 100 rupees he will purchase 2 kilos of rice, some dal, salt, etc. And his daily family, say of 5 members, so they will depend on this 100 rupees. That means what? Who is giving bread and butter to that village man? So this piece of bamboo, which is given 100 rupees. Now a person, that is a person from the town area, he goes to that village and he gives him 100 rupees, takes that bamboo, carries all those bamboos from his bamboo and from other people, say 10 different people, 10 different bundles. So in a truck he is bringing them to the city, and he sells each bundle of bamboo with for example 200 rupees or 250 rupees. That means what? Had the bamboo not been there in the forest, the bread and butter of the urban poor would also not been addressed. So directly and indirectly the urban poor also is dependent on the biodiversity. So this is just one example. In spite of all these things, what we say, our national policies are there. Our national policies never have considered biodiversity with that outlook. Okay, biodiversity is never or very rarely included in our economic outlook because it is mainly considered as a public good, sending no signals through the market. তার মানে কি from economic point of view, biodiversity যেটা value আছে, that value has never been considered by our policymakers at any point of time. Most of the problem comes out because of that only. Avenues to streamline NTFP and other resources which are profoundly grown in Assam. So I am sharing with you some of the photographs. All these are NTFP, তার মানে কি non-timber forest product. Homoliana aromatica, then Imperator cylindrica grassland. This is sweeping broom. This is bamboo, dolu bamboo. Okay, so this is used for making umbrella. Okay, Milex lentifolia. This is Dioscorea species. This is Litzilia. So these are all NTFPs. What is done there? These are, as I have said you in the beginning, so these are all harvested these are all grown in the forest areas of Assam. These are all grown in the forest areas of Assam. Now what is done, whenever you purchase a jharu, sweeping broom, you purchase with what, say 70 rupees or 80 rupees they take. Okay, the shop owner will take 70 or 80 rupees from you. What is done is that these are grown in our state profoundly. These are grown, the third picture or the picture in the middle, and there are wholesale big businessmen. Through the trucks, these are transported to UP, to Madhya Pradesh, like that. So now they will insert these sticks within a plastic stand, within a plastic handle, and within a plastic wrapper it will insert, and then the cost is 70 rupees. MRP is 70 rupees, 80 rupees, like that. So that means what? Our own product, if we can do it, if the distribution is done in our own state, our own people can become benefited. Okay, this is not being done. This is not being done, and our own, we are giving what, 70 rupees. We could get it at 20 rupees maximum, but we are, so this is, that means what? Some planning, there is no planning so far as these non-timber forest products are concerned. What are the different uses of these non-timber forest products? You see, Amoliana aromatica, which is vernacular name is Gandhi kochu, rhizome is used. It is used for essence, food, medicine, and aro use which I will not mention here. This is for not recommended use, but for illegal purposes also they use it. This I have already said is jharu, which is used for sweeping broom. Imperata cylindrica, which is shown, which is used to cover thatched houses. So this dolu, this hard stem is used for making different bamboo products, bamboo trays, etc. Licuala, it is used for making, you have seen in the tea garden areas, whenever the tea garden women they go for tea plucking, they use a type of choppy which is used for this thata pata. And smilex, which is local name here is shukchini, the roots are used. It is used variously used, and also as an alternative to sugar, it is also used in traditional tea manufacturing. Diascorea, which is used as khamalu, it is also carbohydrate rich, used for making food. Sorry. And Litsia sabifolia, which releases gum, and it is largely used for incense stick. So all these items, due to negligence, these are exported from our state. They goes to the middle India, and we even whenever it requires a little quantity, we are required to purchase it with high price. Now this is another plant which recently, especially during lockdown, I have observed that from the southern Assam side, that is Kachar, Karimganj, and Hailakandi side, there are a group of people who are collecting these, and they are transporting these for illegally via Mizoram border. It is going outside India. Okay. Now the local name is Nagaduma, Bodo lily. Okay. Now they claim that it is used for medicinal purposes, and those people who pluck it and supply it, they say that I don't know whether it is sure, whether there is any scientific. Definitely there is no scientific, but it is said that even for treatment of corona, this plant is useful. And scientifically, this has not been validated as yet. Now, other important resources, established resources, but this can be promoted. The number one picture is about our sericulture. Now, sericulture, sericulture, Assam is famous for sericulture. We have our friends in Central Skill Board, Bangalore, who is working there. And for promoting sericulture, always they will help, extend their helping hand. Now, if the people who have become unemployed, they can do, they can think about initiating this sericulture. It will be very good. Similarly, the second picture is about apiculture. Apiculture, honeybee, Aztec, Dr. Joydeep Barua and all, their team have taken some initiative, and people are encouraged to do apiculture. The third picture is lake culture. So this lake culture is also possible in our Assam. In Karbi Anglong, it is already done in a small scale. In some Meghalaya, also it is done on a small scale. But this can be encouraged to a large extent, so that people, instead of going to Bangalore or Hyderabad or say Mumbai for 10,000 rupees a month, if they can earn at 10,000 here or even more than 10,000, there are avenues that they will be able to earn more than that. Okay, the thing is that on large scale, these things will have to be promoted in our own state. Fishery sector is again, it is known to all, fisheries done more or less. So many wetlands are there in our own state, and it is considered as a sunrise sector. Fishery, whoever has done fishery, he has never faced any financial loss. He is always the owner. This sector contributes to a large section of the economically underprivileged population of the country. This can be encouraged. Okay, it can be. It has been recognized as a powerful income generation and employment generating sector. So this can be organized in a in a large scale, and for that the separate fishery ministry is also there. So this is their duty to encourage fishery. Okay, and some NTFs which I do not encourage from animal sources, they are used, but this should not be, because some of the animals from which some tribal people use these NTFPs are from either from Schedule 1 animal of the Wildlife Protection Act or Schedule 2 animal. So these should not be encouraged, but some people, they who are not well versed with the Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 or stringent measures, they are practicing. These animals, these things have come to our notice. Our scholars are working like that. Gallbladder of porcupine is used for dysentery, stomach disorder, and for example, these are the medicines which are used from various animals. And say slow loris, the limbs, the furs, these are used for various purposes like wounds, scars, etc. This should not be encouraged. Still, the other animals which are profoundly found, they can be used, who are found in large quantity, which do not belong to the schedules of the Wildlife Protection Act of India. The next point which I wish to come is wildlife farming. Wildlife farming seems a difficult proposition, but for that matter, some amendments and everything will have to be done in our acts and statutes, also national acts and statute. But in other countries, this is done, and it has proved beneficial, quite beneficial as well. It can be done like that. For example, deer population in any area is declining. Now I am a person, I am having say huge forest areas under my possession, and if government allows me to do deer farming in that area, in that case illegal killing of the deer will be stopped. Number one, deer population, if at any point of time, because of non-killing, if its population increases substantially, in that case those excess number of individuals can be taken out from that area, they can be sold in the market, revenue can be earned. This is the basic concept. It's a proposition to conserve nature's elusive wealth in Northeast India. On the other hand, even maybe Schedule 1 animal, Schedule 2 animal may also be cultivated like that. In that case, their population dwindling will be stopped, because somebody will be there to look after. Now there is nobody, the owner of the wildlife. Maybe on a government scale it is there, but if some public-private partnership is organized, that has worked better in some other countries. I'll show you some examples. Most of the animals are poached for their derivatives, but not their flesh. Domestic meat demand, it is always there from wild species. So if wild farming is done, that can be mitigated. Hunting for animals meat is always playing a decisive role in the extinction of many animals. For example, mishmitakin from Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, it is killed, and this is the main reason for its population decline. Considering the importance of conservation of species which are killed for local consumption, wildlife farming may be legalized to a certain extent. Now, these are some of the examples. Capybaras, spectacle caimans, green iguana. So these are the animals where population has grown substantially for this wildlife farming. In Africa, wildlife ranching, it is also known as ranching, farming, ranching, same word. Wildlife ranching provides a good demonstration of the contribution of the private sector to conservation. This is seldom encouraged in our country. There is more wildlife now in South Africa than it was 100 years back. So, as I've said you, this these are the different animals in South America. Wildlife ranging for selected species has a definite potential on private land in Latin America. In Venezuela, these are the animals, capybaras, the first picture, and second picture, the spectacled caimans. Green iguana, it is done in Costa Rica. So these are the animals where examples are there, that if private public partnership is done, then their population will be conserved. At the same time, the sustainable harvesting can also be done. But for that matter, to implement, there should be some rules to be imposed. Wildlife farming, if we want to do it in Northeast India, number one, we'll have to take opinion from the state forest minister. Number one, the state forest minister will take opinion from the central board of wildlife, from the central forest environment and forest minister. Okay, so all these nitty gritty are there. All these things will have to be permission, and other things will have to be taken. And if it is allowed, then some steps should be taken. That is, not for all species this can be allowed. It can be allowed for selected species which are hunted, which are generally hunted for meats, and whose population trend is declining because of excessive hunting. For example, Mishmita kin population declining. So if it is allowed to do farming, in that case a viable population can be maintained. Our target will be two ways, that is viable population to maintain, and meat supply should also be there in the market, and the revenue earning component for the unemployed category of people, that should also be there. Second thing is that the restriction should be on the transportation of the farmed meat and other derivatives outside from its place of origin. Transportation from Assam, it should go to Kerala or it should go to Delhi, that should not be allowed. For that matter, government restriction should be there only to the desired places where government permits, that should be those should be imposed. Thirdly, farm practices should be under the government control supervision, so providing license to farmed animals. So those people who are doing farming, they should be given license, they should be under supervision from the government side. So this is another imposition. So if these things are done with strict vigilance, I think wildlife also can be maintained, and not for each and every people this can be done. For those families or those people who are having sufficient quantity of barren land under their possession, they can be allowed to go for this sort of wildlife farming. People, an unemployed youth living in Guwahati city, he cannot go for that, because he will do only business only. He will not look into the interest of the wildlife. So this is the thing what I want to say. I think I have come to an end of this presentation, and thank you all for your patient hearing. If there is any question, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. We have few questions in the chat box. I shall be reading that to you
Yeah.
one after another.
Sure.
So the first question is from Dhrubajyoti Kolita. He wrote in SMS, বৃহৎ সংখ্যক জনসাধাৰণে যদি স্থানীয় প্ৰাকৃতিক সম্পদবোৰৰ ওপৰত নিৰ্ভৰ কৰি জীৱিকা নিৰ্বাহৰ বাবে চেষ্টা কৰে, তেনেহলে নিশ্চয় আমাৰ সম্পদবোৰ অতি কম সময়ৰ ভিতৰত টুটি আহিব। আকৌ সীমিত খেতি মাটিত স্থানীয় ফল-মূল, মাছ আদি উৎপাদনৰ খেতি কৰিবলৈ অধিক যন্ত্ৰপাতি, কৃত্ৰিম সাৰ, ঔষধ আদি প্ৰয়োগ কৰিলেও পৰিৱেশ প্ৰদূষণে দেখা দিব। গতিকে আমি কি পদ্ধতিৰে আগবাঢ়িলে প্ৰাকৃতিক ভাৰসাম্যও ৰক্ষা পৰিব আৰু আমি অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱেও সবল হৈ থাকিব পাৰিম?
Second component মানে chat boxত আছে নেকি? মই
Yes,
পঢ়ি
sir.
আছো। কথা হল যে এটা হল মানে ফার্টিলাইজার, টেকনিক্যাল ইকুইপমেন্ট, ট্রাক্টর, মেডিসিন। তার মানে কি, দিজ আর অল অ্যাডভান্সেস অফ টেকনোলজি। দিজ আর অল অ্যাডভান্সেস অফ টেকনোলজি মানে হল যে, if I give you one example, suppose a tea garden. টি গার্ডেনের যিজন ম্যানেজার বা মালিক, তার টার্গেট কি? His target is to maximize his production. He will not consider that if he applies say fertilizers or pesticides in the field, that will go down to the waters, it will go leaching, aquatic animals will be affected. That is not intention. This is one aspect, that there are some categories of the people who goes on maximizing their productivity. But our concept is that to work or to do our activities or cultivation in a sustainable way. Ajikali ki hoise, in most of the villages of Assam, what you find, that the paddy fields are years after years, these are lying barren. That minimum one type crop production মানে নহয় নকৰে, কারণ যিজনে crop production কৰিব, he has gone to Bangalore, or he has gone to Bhubaneswar, or he has gone to Hyderabad, and earning 15,000 rupees per month. So that paddy field is lying vacant. Thing is that number one, our boys should be allowed to come back, and they should be, ideally we should allow them to do cultivation without damaging to the environment. This is one aspect. And how without damaging the environment, local environment, cultivation or agriculture can be done. There are many ways our agriculture is developing fast. There are many technologies where in an organic way farming can be done, and without any damage to the environment. For this matter, balance between the development and the environment has to be obtained. I can give you one example. As je moi চাহ বাগিচাৰ কথা মই কৈছিলো, nearby our university there are two tea gardens. There are two tea gardens where I can say that two tea gardens, one is totally organic tea manufacturing garden, all other gardens are inorganic tea manufacturing. Organic tea manufacturing garden e ki hoy je all the teas are directly sold to abroad countries. People from outside, they come, they take their they purchase, and the cost of tea on a large scale, in his own garden he gets about 200 per kilo. But in all other gardens you will find they are getting very less, say 100, 110, 120, like that. That means organically, if you produce, it has got good market value. And in a simple word, although this is a big term, in a short, I cannot answer in a brief terminology how natural balance maintain kori pelai ami agriculture koribo parim. So a balance will have to be maintained. A balance somehow will have to be maintained so that minimum damage hoy and amar agriculture kamkhini agbari jay. Okay, that is also possible. Somehow a balance has to be maintained. Our Jyoti Barua sir has said it requires debate and discussion. I agree. So within a short while, we cannot come to say. Okay, elaborate discussion may be done. Definitely, somehow a balance can be found out. Okay, next question.
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
I could,
The next question is by Kausik Rajbongsi. He asked, as we know that we have already lost lots of our biodiversity due to over exploitation, and we say about also coexistence with nature. My question is that, is it fair to be more dependent on our rest of biodiversity to harness our livelihood?
তাৰ কাৰণে আনসাৰ হল biodiversity livelihood. I am not telling that you should do farming of say one-horn rhino. Okay, you should not do farming of one-horn rhino, but definitely you can go for practicing apiculture. Okay, apiculture can give you bread and butter. It is also coming from the biodiversity store. Okay, the growth of silk, that is sericulture. Okay, so these are coming from the biodiversity resources. Okay, what biodiversity is not? Everything is biodiversity, but thing is that the animals, the endangered species, biodiversity, the IUCN, vulnerable species, endangered, threatened. So there, those are say how many of the total number of biodiversity. Those, if you count in terms of number, they are not very big. Okay, but they are important definitely for the environment. Elephant, for example, is important. Okay, so those things you can keep them aside, but which are not listed under Schedule 1 to 6 of the Wildlife Protection Act, or which are not listed under IUCN. So those cultivation may be done. Okay, for example, turtles and the tortoises. If you try to grow in an organized way, the way in which fishery is done, okay, and if they start once upon a time, if say for example, after say 20 years or 15 years, turtle population increases enormously, in that case you will be given every license to sell them in the market. So that way, if you do, in that case, that species will not become extinct. There is no chance of extinction. So this is the thing what I like to share.
Thank you, sir. We
Yeah.
have another question by Joydeep Burwa, sir.
Yeah.
NTFPs can contribute immensely towards Assam's economy in sustainable manner. Can we think of skill development program in this area?
Definitely, we have in our university. There are I have my colleague who has done PhD on the NTFP production. Definitely, he has done in this locality, in Southern Assam locality, that is Innerland Reserve Forest. Whatever I have shown here, these are his findings only. In addition, some more findings are there. With me, there is another girl from Nalbari district who has recently done MPhil on NTFPs on this in the forest areas of Nalbari. So in Assam, lot many NTFPs are there, but it is not organized. It is an unorganized sector. Government also, or the forest department also consider them as sundry items, and sundry items er karone kono tax konoba jodi loi jay tar karone kono tax sarkarer lower kono rasta nai. So tar mane sarkarer revenue lose kori ase. This is number one. If it can be done in an organized way, sarkarer olop agbare ahibo lagibo. In that case, government revenue can be increased and people's bread and butter can also be ensured.
ধন্যবাদ স্যার। আমাৰ আৰু যদি কোনোবা শ্ৰোতা আৰু দৰ্শক মণ্ডলীয়ে প্ৰশ্ন কৰিব বিচাৰে তেনেহলে তেওঁলোকে ছাৰৰ সৈতে পোনপটীয়াকৈ প্ৰশ্নটি আগবঢ়াব পাৰে।
Jaydeep Burwa sir আকৌ লিখিছে যে wildlife farming is an interesting proposition but need to get debates and discussion. Okay, মানে মই কলেতো নহব কারণ this is a government policy concern. The government should be বেলেগ country this is allowing, কিন্তু আমার country আমার সরকারে they do not allow. So this is from the central minister, from the central what to say, Indian Board for Wildlife. It is there. They should give signal. In that case, each and every state, where possible or where feasible, this can be allowed. Until and unless that is achieved, nothing can be done. That would be illegal. That cannot be done until and unless it has been illegalized.
আৰু যদি আমাৰ প্ৰশ্ন বাকি নাই তেনেহলে আমি আজিৰ কাৰ্যসূচীৰ শেষৰটি কাৰ্যসূচীলৈ যাবলৈ বিচাৰিছো।
মই ডাইৰেক্ট কথা এটা সুধিব বিচাৰিছো, পাৰো নেকি ধ্ৰুৱজ্যোতি কলিতা কৈছো।
হয় ধ্ৰুৱজ্যোতি কলিতা স্যাৰ, হয় সুধিব পাৰে।
ডক্টৰ চৌধুৰী ছাৰৰ যিটো অতি সুন্দৰ এইটো বক্তব্যটো পালো, অতি সহজ সৰল আকৰ্ষণীয়, কিন্তু তেখেতে হাতে কামে কাম কৰি দেখাইছে। মানে আমি জানো তাতে ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিৰ এখন ধুনীয়াকে তেখেতে বাগিচা এখন কৰিছে। গতিকে মই বহু বছৰ ধৰি এনেকে বিদ্যালয়ৰ লগত অনানুষ্ঠানিকভাৱে মানে ভলুণ্টিয়াৰ লাগি আছো এনেকুৱা কাম কিছুমান কৰাৰ কাৰণে, পোৱা নাই। গতিকে ছাৰৰ এই যিটো আৰ্হিটো বা উদ্যানখন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ত পাতিছে, তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ উদ্যান এখন যদি বাকী স্কুল কলেজত পাতিবলৈ বিচাৰে, সেইটো শিক্ষাৰ লগত কেনেকে জড়িত কৰিব পাৰি, যাৰ কাৰণে স্কুলবিলাক উৎসাহিত হ'ব তেনেকুৱা বাগিচাখন পাতিবলৈ। কাৰণ বহুত সময়ত তেনেকুৱা হয় স্কুলৰ আমাৰতো চিলেবাছত নাই, আমাৰ হেৰি নাই, আমি এইটো নকৰো, তেনেকুৱা এটা বহুত সময়ত দেখা যায়। ছাৰে ক্ষেত্ৰত কি পৰামৰ্শ দিব ছাৰ?
মানে পৰামৰ্শ এইটোৱেই যে আপোনাৰ নাম্বাৰ 1 আপোনাৰ চৌহদত সাৰপ্লাস ল্যান্ড থাকিব লাগিব নাম্বাৰ 1, আৰু যদি থাকে ইন দ্যাট কেস নিয়াৰ বাই যিটো ফৰেষ্ট ডিপাৰ্টমেন্ট আছে, ফৰেষ্ট ডিএফও আছে বা কনজারভেটর ডেফিনেটলি আছে। আপনি কোন জায়গাত থাকে? হেল্ল',
মোৰ নলবাৰী জিলাৰ টিহুত মোৰ ঘৰ, কিন্তু মই চাকৰিতে গুৱাহাটীত থাকো।
ঠিক আছে, আপনি নলবাৰী জিলাত কৰিব, বুথ কৰো ডেফিনেটলি। তো নলবাৰী জিলাৰ যিজন ডিএফও আছে তেখেতৰ তাত এপ্ৰোচ কৰিব লাগিব, আৰু মই এইপিনে সহায় কৰি দিব পাৰিম যে যিটো হ'ল যে আপোনালোকে প্ৰপ'জেল আগবঢ়াই দিব লাগিব ডিএফঅ'ৰ তাত, আৰু আই কেন ৰিকুৱেষ্ট এ ফৰেষ্ট মিনিষ্টাৰ যে এনেকুৱা প্ৰপ'জেল আহি আছে, ইফ ইউ গিভ এ ফোন কল টু দ্য ডিএফঅ' then they have various funds for that. তেওঁলোকৰ হাতত বহুত টকা থাকে প্লেন্টেশন। আজিকালি আপুনি চাব যে ইচ এণ্ড এভৰি ডিষ্ট্ৰিক্ট এটাকৈ এনেকুৱা গাৰ্ডেন হৈ আছে, নাম বেলেগ বেলেগ হ'ব পাৰে, যেনে মোৰ এইটো হ'ল অপূৰবীয়া উদ্যান, বেলেগত বেলেগ নাম হ'ব পাৰে।
আচলতে কি মই দেখিছো, আমি ফৰেষ্টৰ পৰা বহুত সময়ত সহযোগিতা পাওঁ, কিন্তু বহুত সময়ত কি হয় স্কুলৰ যিটো ৰেগুলাৰ চিলেবাছ, যেনেকে তেওঁলোকৰ অন্যান্য ক্লাছ কৰাৰ কাৰণে কম্পালসৰি চিলেবাছত বস্তু এটা থাকে, উদ্ভিদ উদ্যান বুলি বস্তুটো নাই স্কুলৰ হেৰিত, কোনো কম্পালসৰি নহয় কাৰণে বহুতে পাতিবলৈ ইচ্ছা নকৰে বা আগ্ৰহ নেদেখুৱায়। গতিকে আপুনি যি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ত পাতিছে, নিশ্চয় অথৰিটিৰ পৰা আপুনি ছাপোৰ্ট পাইছে। এই ধৰণৰ আমি এনেকে শিক্ষকসকলক উৎসাহিত কৰা নাই, সেইটো কেনেকে আমি স্কুলৰ কম্পালসৰি এটা কাৰ্যক্ৰমৰ ভিতৰত এটা অংশ হিচাপে কৰিব পৰা যায়।
আপনি যদি সায়েন্সৰ টিচাৰ যিকেইজন আছে বা বটানী জুলজি টিচাৰ যদি থাকে, তেতিয়াহ'লে ইউ কেন টেল দেম টু টেক ইনিচিয়েটিভ। আৰু কি হ'ব, গছ-গছলি যিকেইটা লাগে গছপুলি ফৰেষ্ট ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টে ডেফিনেটলি দিব। আৰু হ'ল যে যিকোনো এটা কমিউনিটি ডেইজ হিচাপে যদি স্কুলত এনেকুৱা এটা অনুষ্ঠান পাতে, যে কমিউনিটি কন্ট্রিবিউশন, তাত সবে যাব, মানে কালেক্টিভ মানে যিটো লেবাৰ দিব ডেফিনেটলি। ফৰ দ্যাট মেটাৰ দ্যাটিয়ে আপোনাৰ ফিল্ড প্ৰিপাৰেশ্যন হৈ যাব। এণ্ড যদি ধৰক ইন এন অৰ্গেনাইজড ৱে ইন দ্যাট এৰিয়া, একদিনে বোধ কৰোঁ এইটো পচিবল নহ'ব, কাৰণ টাইম লাগে, 2 মাহ 3 মাহ কণ্টিনিউৱাছ লাগে, ডেফিনেট ফাণ্ডো এটা লাগে। তো গছ পুলি ফৰেষ্টৰ পৰা পাই যাব, কিন্তু এই যে আপোনাৰ যে বাকীখিনি মেইনটেনেন্স কৰাৰ যিটো টকা লাগে, where from you will get that money? Definitely, if you approach the forest department, for that matter, I hope that they will extend your financial help, and কিছুমান ক্ষেত্ৰত ডেডিকেটেড মানুহও দি দিয়ে যে এইজন ৰেঞ্জাৰে এইটো প্ৰজেক্ট এই স্কুলত বা এই কলেজত এই কামখিনি তাক দিয়া হ'ল, and until and unless this is finished, he is attached to that project. তেনেকুৱা কৰে ফৰেষ্ট ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টে। গতিকে you should be positive, you should come forward with positive set of mind. কামখিনি হৈ যাব লাগে মোৰ হিচাপত।
ধন্যবাদ ছাৰ।
আৰু কাবাৰ প্ৰশ্ন কৰিবলগীয়া আছে নেকি? আমি এই ৱেবিনাৰখনৰ শেষৰটি কাৰ্যসূচীত আহি পৰিছো, আৰু এই চেগতে মই আমাৰ আজিৰ বক্তৃতা অনুষ্ঠানৰ নিৰ্দিষ্ট বক্তা প্ৰফেচাৰ পাৰ্থশংকৰ চৌধুৰী ছাৰক আন্তৰিক ধন্যবাদ জ্ঞাপন কৰিছো। আশা কৰিছো আজি ৱেবিনাৰখনৰ উপস্থিত সকলো শ্ৰোতা আৰু দৰ্শক মণ্ডলীয়ে তেওঁৰ বক্তৃতাৰ পৰা নিশ্চয়কৈ উপকৃত হৈছে। মই আমাৰ মাজত উপস্থিত অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ সভানেত্ৰী ডক্টৰ জয়ন্তী চুতীয়া বাইদেউ আৰু অসম বিজ্ঞান সমিতিৰ প্ৰধান সচিব ডক্টৰ জয়দীপ বৰুৱা ছাৰক আন্তৰিক ধন্যবাদ জ্ঞাপন কৰিছোঁ আৰু সকলো শ্ৰোতা আৰু দৰ্শক মণ্ডলীক তেওঁলোকৰ সময়কণ দি এই ৱেবিনাৰখনত উপস্থিত থকাৰ বাবেও ধন্যবাদ জ্ঞাপন কৰিছোঁ। আশা কৰিছোঁ আগন্তুক কাৰ্যসূচীত পুনৰ আমি একেলগে এনেকে লগ পাম আৰু এইখিনি কৈয়ে আজি অনুষ্ঠান সামৰিলোঁ বুলি ঘোষণা কৰিলোঁ। ধন্যবাদ ছাৰ।
থ্যাংক ইউ, ধন্যবাদ।